infamous podcast where we are anything but silent. And we are here today for a really exciting time because it is Survivor Philadelphia now or never. I don't know what that was, but that just happened. My name is Mark, and I'm excited to talk to you today. Here, as always, my favorite co-host in the world, Davey. How are you,
Hi.
my dude?
I'm doing really good. Oh, whoa, the lights went out. I'm doing really well, I think that having a cadence in which you can expect to do the podcast is really helpful. Because I think last season, we were like all over the place. Oh, I can do Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. But now it's like kind of predictable and it's like really fun. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it's cool because uh, like we're doing our own thing and it's great and it's like really cool how much coverage that this season's been getting because it really does deserve it. It's a really great season of the show.
Yeah,
And
it really is a great season. I feel pretty hooked. I am rooting for a lot of the characters, and yeah.
Valencia's in the chat, multitasking. For those that don't know, we are recording at the same time as our Big Brother coverage. Today is a crazy one on Big Brother, but listen to that podcast later, or do what Valencia's doing, watch both at the same time.
Yeah.
So, Davey, I know you always like to have like a question or anything, like to guess going. Let's see what you got.
All right. So, um, last time we started off with the quote, I think that based on the title, we should talk about the quote as well. So the title of this ep is called Friends Close, Enemies Closer. And so I want to hear a quote from you that encompasses like either enemies or friends. It doesn't have to have it in the title, but like dealing with the idea of.
All right, so I like when you posted that question to me, my brain was like going crazy. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, I like this. Like obviously, like the famous Godfather quote, which is kind of what the title of the episode is. But we're not going to do that. I have a quote from Oscar Wilde.
Ooh, okay, Oscar.
Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them more.
Okay. That's
What about you,
funny.
Davey?
So my quote doesn't have a explicit like friend or enemy, but I think that like this episode inspired like me to think about this quote, and the quote is shared joy is double joy, and then shared sorrow is half sorrow.
Hmm.
Um,
Do you know who? Do you say you know who said it or?
I don't know who said it. Untitled. But
Davey said it. Davey
no,
said
I
it.
did not say. I can't take credit for such a lovely quote. But no, there was something in this episode that really like sparked that. So putting a pin,
Good to know.
and yeah, and then I think just thinking about like what's a time you held an enemy closer than a friend. It could be like in a game sphere, like thinking about that. But also up to interpretation, Mark.
That's always a fun thing, like because like the world that I'm in is I'm an actor. There's a lot of people like that, like you have to work with that you don't get along with personally or such, and like also like when you're like in college, you have to like hang out with people that you don't necessarily want to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like I was like thinking about this all day, and since you asked me that, and my brain's like, those people like in college they meet, they're like, oh, they're so cool. They're so cool. And then like you like hang out with them for a little while, you get you do things that you shouldn't do, like get drunk and all that such because you're underage. We don't condone underage drinking, but college.
Yeah.
And North Florida. And you're like hanging out and you see them do something that's like generally so bad. And it's such a small campus that you can't get away. And you're like, okay, I'm going to study them so I never become them.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
I really like thought about that question as like in a game sphere. I feel like in the games that I've played, I always have my eyes on an enemy rather than a friend because at least I know what the enemy is gonna do. Um, well, I mean, I guess I know what the friend's gonna do in like some capacity, but I feel like when you're really put into that position, you have to think about what is your enemy gonna do and what is your friend gonna do because your enemy is more likely to do something against you. But also, I guess, like, so is a friend. So it's really key.
And you know what? Like, just because you're friends in real life doesn't mean you're gonna be friends in the game. And Matt Scott also is happy to see a philosophical moment start with a Survivor podcast. I can't speak today. It's been a very long day, guys.
Philosophy. Yeah, I mean, starting off with some really good stuff.
And I remember. So I watched this episode live, as I was able to with the first one, like during like the drop on Tuesday. I was like, this is so exciting, and let's just dive right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
I am so fucking happy that I called exactly what we like what my thought was about about what I was like. I bet it's Edge of Extinction. I bet it's Edge of Extinction, and I was right to at least a certain extent, because Jen is out, but I feel like she's more on pause than out. If that makes sense.
Sure. I feel like she is impacting the game in some capacity, and like the whole cliffhanger from last episode is kind of coming to fruition. So I really like that.
Yeah. So yeah, like for those that didn't obviously watch the episode before listening to us, that's always a smart thing. But basically, it continues basically from where it was. You find out that there's these 6 packages on this table that you have to write down someone's name that you feel most burned by once you got voted out. And basically, she chooses Gabe, which I get, although if I'm not mistaken, Gabe voted with her. I didn't go back to the first episode but I believe that is correct. But I think it's interesting. But like, I think it's really funny. Her reason why she voted, she put down Gabe is because he's wearing a Bengals jacket while in Eagles territory. Yeah, and honestly, that's a choice.
Yeah, it is. You can't have the winner not wearing like something from that city. So I see her reasoning. For sure. I think that adds a new mechanic to the game. Like, who is the person that really screwed you over / like you feel the most burned by? Putting their name on this like random
mystery
thing,
box,
mystery box, and then letting it play out. I think that's so cool.
And I also really need to commend like I feel like I don't get a chance to talk about this so often because I feel like whenever I talk about this like for an LRG, it's always like it's just a block or whatever. But the art direction in the Sands of Time area is so amazing. Seeing all these clocks everywhere. As a Back to the Future, which oddly enough I am wearing a Back to the Future shirt right now. But to see that reminds me of the opening season of Back to the Future, all the clocks everywhere, and I'm just like, that's a really, really, really good thought process there for at least the art direction.
Yeah, I really liked all the clocks. Sands of Time. I think it's really leaning into this idea of past, present, future. I'm a fan.
Yeah, and like, so she's just basically gonna wait there until the next person comes, and et cetera, et cetera. And like, I'm hoping for a battle back in like 5 episodes or ever how many we are from now. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what Alex is like feeding me in the opening sequence from the flash forward. At least that's what I was getting, and that's what I hope I get. I'm really intrigued. Like those, can we hypothesize what those like gifts, like my word, would be to Gabe and whoever else joined?
I feel
against the type thing, or
I feel like I counted 6 on the table. Correct me if I'm wrong. But maybe if those like at the end of the 6th vote, those like red squares would pose some sort of disadvantage to any of those people that are still in the game. I feel like that is something that might play into the theme of the season of Now or Never.
Because like, yeah, like my brain's like, is this like the task at like that 7th round of voting, is that gonna be something that's gonna be harder because of that? Like it's like, you have to carry more weight, or you have a time penalty or something. I'm really intrigued by it, honestly.
This isn't the fucking challenge, Mark.
I get it. My brain starts going, and then it doesn't stop. Like
I guess so.
I like Survivor.
Yeah. I think that it just plays into this idea that the actions that you make in a quick fire game like this can ripple and like really can impact your game moving forward. Every move that you make needs to be timed well. And I think that there are a lot of players this episode that make or break moments throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like we're barely an hour into the game in theory.
Yeah. I think Ryan said in his confessional he'd only been there for 45 minutes. I want to highlight Paige really quick because I think that she's doing a really good job of like making connections, and then I also wrote down like picking flowers to put in her and Kristen's hair. Women in STEM #flower STEM. Also, Paige, you have a very handsome husband. I always get like really interested to see if the partners of people who play live games ever are interested to see what their partners do and like want to play. Non sequitur, because I think that I can objectively say that he's handsome, but also like wonder if he's supportive and like is able to play a game too.
Yeah. Both. I agree with everything you're saying. I think it's fascinating to see how that like could rub off on someone either as support or as I want to play in the future.
Yeah.
And what you were talking about like, with Paige in this little confessional, like I was like writing down notes like I feel like she's getting a really good edit in the way where I wouldn't be shocked if it's like does very well in the game. Like it's a thing of like, you know me, I read Edgic and all that stuff, and like it's just the way her edit has been so far has been very, very positive in a way of like she's a very dynamic character who's using her natural skills in a very positive way.
Yeah. I know we haven't gotten to it in the episode yet, but I'm gonna put a pin in that because I do think that there's a lot of I can't even talk either. There's a lot of fluidity because this tribe at this point in the episode has not gotten a tribal yet. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see what those dynamic looks like because it's not all hunky dory when you lose a challenge and you haven't gotten tribal. So.
But it's also fascinating how both Sunshine and Paige are kind of using their natural skill sets in a way of like, hi, I'm funny and charming, and like here's a cool like flower, or here's some candy, or whatever, you know, and using that for them. Like because like Sunshine says like he brought paint with him, and like you know putting war paint on and such like that, and it's like all like really smart small things that like are thought out of the box, but like not necessarily required type things.
Yeah, you know, okay, so this reminds me of the first time I ever played an LRG. It was Survivor New York, and when I was cast, I had an explicit request. I said, "Will you please let me bring earplugs to camp?" And they're like, sure, why? You can't sleep?" And I was like, "No, these earplugs are for other people because I know I have a tendency to snore." And like, as God is my witness, I will not be voted out because I snore. I'll be voted out because I'm a big threat to win the game. Like I do not want to be clocked and voted out because I snore. So that's on that.
No, that's so smart. And I'm like, wow, next time I do a multi-day LRG, I really should do that because your boy snores too.
It's knowing thyself and knowing how to like earn that extra social capital. So
yeah,
cheers to the beef jerky, paint, and the vibes of the tribe, Sunshine. I'm really proud of you.
I want to talk about Timmy here.
Yeah,
I love Timmy.
I love Timmy too.
Like you see Timmy just start smiling. He's just like a good positive energy.
Yeah,
I love how like he talks about like how he has a southern drawl. He doesn't really have a strong one, but I definitely hear the Mississippi in there. And like how like and I love those photos they got of him.
Yeah.
Of like him like kind of like cute and adorable, like a birthday hat on and such like that.
Yeah. I don't know if I can't hear the drawl. I just think that like I would listen to Timmy do a TED talk of anything. And I really do love his focus on Black queer literature and identity. And I think something that this season has done really well is showcased a whole like diverse plate of stories and people and identities. Timmy Stan, go do that TED talk, Timmy.
Hell yeah, Timmy. And I love it, like seeing him and like Kristen bond. Like, because Kristen was like once ago, like I was a little concerned, but I feel like she's blending in very well, like using her smarts, her sense of humor, her personality very well. Like I liked seeing like how her and Timmy were talking, and how Timmy told her that she saw Ryan grab like what he thinks is the idol. This is the first time we hear about this in the episode. We hear a couple more times, but
Yeah.
like Timmy's like, yeah, he ran back and had a small sack with him, but not the pieces. And Chris is like, oh my god, you're so right.
Yeah, but then in the same breath, I could be wrong, but does Timmy show Kristen what he got?
Oh, this is like the highlight of the season for me.
Like Timmy, no,
but I mean, it's what he got. It's like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but like, I mean, sometimes you have to use your tools to make an ally, right? Like, if I was trying to bring you in, I'd be like, hey, Davey, I guess that's for us, if you'd like, and then like, granted, what he had is a pile of shit, but literally a pile of shit, it sounds like, because it's a doggy doo-doo bag.
Okay. Mark, don't ever tell me you have an idol. Just kidding.
That's fair.
There's truth in humor. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Mark is really trusting.
Mark is really trusting.
But wait, I want to talk about this because I find this episode so funny to me that like he sees a green bag and it's like, oh, it's the same kind of bag that Ryan had, which is a fair thing, and it ends up being just literally a bag of dog shit. Like I'm that person where I would grab them, like, oh my god, that's for me, and then like I grab them, like I'm not gonna tell anyone or whatever, and the next thing I know, I'm like, I'm walking around with a bag of dog shit in my hands,
Yeah, I would throw the fuck up. I can't deal with that. I'm so
like,
sorry.
I want to share an embarrassing thing that happened to me when I was a kid, even though this is like, what should I?
I don't know, friend. Like, is it pertinent? If it has to do with dog shit, I'm gonna veto
it. So, Conspiracy Theory by Matt Scott. Timmy found a bag of poop and knew it was poop, but used it to build trust with Kristen.
Yeah. He used it as a means of trust in case things went to shit. Oh,
the poop brings everyone together.
No,
it's like the palindrome. Okay.
Yes.
Davey's like, no. This is so much poop talk.
Yes.
But and then like I want to like start doing a count of how many joggers that we see.
Oh my god, the jogger scene of them running past Kristen and Timmy was so funny.
Oh,
that was funny to me.
Can I tell you? There was like two very funny things this whole sequence I glossed over because of poop. But I love how like Kristen uses her hand to be like, so he like Ryan ran out that way, and then a dog runs over her shoulder, like behind her, and it was just like a really funny like framing device.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Dogs are all over this season. Dogs and joggers, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. I know. I think right now we're going to the challenge.
We should talk about Ryan reading his note finally.
Oh,
right?
yeah, Okay, so
yeah.
So Ryan finally reads his note.
Yeah,
and he is relegated to the same fate as Ymir. He realizes he has a key,
and it's pretty cool though because he's like, man, I'm always going to do truth or dare. I will always take the dare, and he kind of like swivels himself around a little bit about that, Okay, so maybe we should do a jogger counter.
A jogger counter would be fun.
We did stand nipple count last season.
We did do a stand nipple count. And yes, Ben, flipping that hair, majestic, wonderful.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna rewatch the first two episodes and have like numbers for next week, aren't I?
Yeah, maybe if you have it, I will be mindful of it moving forward.
Okay,
I'm empowering you too.
There's been like 4 or 5 joggers that we've seen so far run by.
Yeah,
like 3 of them in this episode, but
yeah. Someone that we haven't really heard from a lot. Oh, sorry. I think the last thing is Ryan does, in my opinion, become one of the stars of this episode.
Uh-huh.
And we're gonna figure out why. But I think that him already clocking that he like grabbed a bag instead of pieces at the first challenge, and now he has this key to an immunity idol. I think that he's really setting himself up in a good position.
I think he's going to be a very fun character that I think he's doing a really great job of building connections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we talk about this immunity challenges?
Yeah. Talk about it.
All right. So it's a jumble tower. They have like a stack of blocks
Mm-hmm.
on like a folding table that's looks about like 20 feet in front of them, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's 5 people that have to throw the blocks, and they have to fall off the table, and then 2 people will sort into a phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And this challenge looks a lot harder than I think. I don't know. Like, it was hard to tell because, like, they had a lot of trouble hitting those blocks even in the beginning.
Yeah, okay, so from an unbiased dodgeball player perspective, I think that a lot of players were hammering the beanbag or the ball down, and you usually hammer when you're trying to aim for feet or like aim for something low. So what they should have done, and I think this is like a nice tip for anybody that's throwing in the future, take a little bit of a step back and then push. Push into like a little parabola, because if you're able to control it with that like weight, you'll be able to push more off.
How do you feel about aiming for the legs of the table?
I don't like it.
Would that be? That feels like cheating, right? Like a little bit.
High risk, high reward. Also, like, what is the point of you aiming for a leg that is like this when you can? And for those who are listening and not watching, I just put up my pinky. Versus like actually trying to aim for the blocks to knock off the table.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just was like curious because like I did see a lot of people aiming downward. Like I saw Johnny like basically it dropped like 10 feet in front of him a couple of times, and it looked like Gabe was throwing to the side. It was hard to tell from the angle, but like obviously, like I've not done this challenge. I'm not gonna like poo-poo on anyone. We're just having fun talking about a challenge.
Yeah. There are a few friends that I'm not gonna name that did miss every time they threw. So hopefully they take some of my advice. I promise I know what I'm talking about. Hashtag dodgeball. Hashtag I love to throw. Not throw balls, not challenges.
I do love the how this was edited, though. I think Alex and the crew did a really fantastic job of cutting between Alex and like the people like playing the challenge. I thought it was really well shot and interesting.
Me too.
Which is pretty hard to do in this type of challenge.
Yeah.
While this is happening, also, they run over to the Fairmount side and tell them that Ryan has an idol.
I know. Oh my gosh.
How do you feel about that?
Ben is so messy. So messy.
It's a weird thing of like this could go really good for you or really bad.
I think I'm always a fan of players that lean into like cross tribal chat. Kind of like when Claire did it when she was sitting out of the challenges. Like do you remember during that season?
Yeah, season 44.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think that's a way to like engender trust, even though you're not like necessarily working with each other. It's high risk, high reward to me, but I'm always a fan. Get every advantage as you wish.
You hope for the Claire potential and pray it's not the JT side, where they're like, "Oh yeah, this guy's great," and it ends up being Russell. No one wants Russell.
Yeah.
So then like it's interesting because like Fairmount gets it all off very, very fast. Well, faster than Roxborough, but like Roxborough catches up pretty quick. And they give out my favorite fucking response ever when they finally figure out what they think the phrase is. And I wish it was the title of the episode. The beast is fire.
The beast is fire.
Can you imagine as the title of this episode? It'd be so great. The beast is fire. Like, what the hell is that?
I know.
Like, oh my god.
And
Like
these word challenges, like there are so many iterations that you feel like you know them all, but when you're in there, when you actually have to unscramble and like put together like words, I put my hands up. I'm like, damn, this is hard.
and Alex didn't give them a hint on like how many words. He said it was a phrase. That's all he said. And they have like what 10 or they have like probably like 12 letters, I think.
The tribe 8, 10, 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the Beast is Fire. Made me so happy. I wish that was it. Because that is, oh my god, yeah.
Maybe at the end we can talk about which player was your beast that's fire.
Me. I'm a
Okay.
beast, bro. It's summer. It's hot.
I mean, I guess you are a beast, but I'm talking about in the realm of Survivor Philly season 3.
Okay.
We put a pin in it. Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it. We're gonna talk about it at the end.
Yeah, fine. Then we Fairmount tries the tribe is safe, and they are correct. And so that means Roxborough will be going to immunity again. We'll be going to tribal council again.
No.
And Mark's draft gets a little bit more scared. And Jasmine says the other tribe can bond while they're all stressing out. We had a lot of good Jasmine content in this episode.
I mean, Jasmine clocked it. You know, like there's the tribe that will win most of the challenges, and they get to bond in that downtime. But with those bonds, there's also that kind of like, I don't want to say resentment, but there will be a group of people that are bonding more, and there will be people that will inevitably be on the outs. And when it does come down to vote, those people are going to be really critical versus the people that have to go to tribal all the time. They're literally like on game mode. Like it's nonstop. Like once you've been playing like that, you're going to be playing like that for forever. Yeah.
We have to talk about the sit-out bench situation.
Yeah.
Since, as we know, it's 8 and 7, they had to make it even up. So one person sat out from Foxborough, which was Ryan, who I think would have destroyed this challenge. From what I've gathered. At least with the throwing aspect in the beginning. And there's at the top of the sit-out thing, because it's not like a sit-out bench. He has to go on a journey. And like I love how like the first thing that happens is he sees a dog. He sees a Charles Barkley, and it's like named the dog Charles. I don't know if that was a dog he knew, or he just calls every dog Charles Barkley.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're super serious. It doesn't matter if you are like a lover of life. It doesn't matter if you've had a bad day. If you see a dog and it like wants a hug, you are gonna be on another level of like joy.
It's so great. I like the dogs in this world make me so happy. If I see a dog, I smile. If I hug a dog, I smile. Like I suddenly buy my dog pool Funko Pop, so I can smile more often because Peggy the dog is the cutest ugly dog there ever was. I just love dogs. I'm a dog person.
Yeah, I do love dogs. I just would like living in New York City. I find it hard to have a dog because I'm personally like really busy, and I don't think that I would give it the attention that it deserves. Plus, like I feel bad walking it in like concrete jungle. But off tangent. Regardless.
Yeah. So Ryan gets like a table and he gets a little bit scared because there's an hourglass, and he's got to do a journey to the past.
On a journey.
And he's like, I've only been here for 45 minutes. What does that even mean?
I know.
He flips the hourglass, and Jen appears.
Yeah. Oh. You know, this I'm taking a pin out from the beginning of this episode. Mm-hmm. That quote that I shared kind of has to do with that. I think that like this one-on-one to me is so meaningful just because I know Jen and like all that she's gone through, and like I think that reflecting on her first boot status and then also wanting to impart all that information to Ryan was really meaningful. I think it was the perfect chat of connection and strategy and advice, like don't trust the girls. And I want to just go on the record and say fuck cancer.
Yeah. fully, yes.
Yeah.
Um, so I have like a weird, like it's such a weird situation, this type of journey, right? Because Ryan and Jen never really met; they only see each other at the start of the game, basically, right?
Uh-huh.
So like, it's it's weird because like this type of thing is like, do I like what kind of information I get from someone that was at the bottom, or what kind of information can I give to someone that might not do well, might not be in a good spot? Like you
Hmm.
have to juggle those things, you know. Like, do you want to stay loyal to your original tribe and not give much information, or not? I mean, it's kind of fascinating to me, you know. Um,
If you're in Jen's position, would you blow up your old tribe, or would you like be neutral because you want somebody from that tribe to win?
well, it's weird because like my brain still thinks there's gonna be an edge of extinction component, like officially, like where one of them gets back in. That's what like my brain is going towards. Like if I was in her spot, like there's like a chance I'm back in this game, right? It's not like after like the 6 eliminations, I go home automatically in my mind. So I'd want to give diplomatic answers that would make Ryan want to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel, in my personal opinion, what I watched, I feel like Jen gave a little too much information. Um, and Ryan was smart; he didn't really say much.
Mm.
Um, I do think it was great seeing the bond. Like it was really nice. That the first thing that they did was connect over her Ted Lasso bandana with saying "believe" on it and such like that. Like Ted
Yeah.
Lasso will always make my heart go pitter patter. But I don't know, it's just that thing of like, but you're all, and like it was interesting because like I don't know if her information was accurate because that thing of like she was like half blindsided during that travel. You know, she knew she was like in danger, but like the information she gave wasn't. It probably was as accurate as it could be at that present moment. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Fucking blowing them up. Like, if there's an edge of extinction, I have the potential to get into this game, and my tribe, like, based on the votes, it was like what, 5-3 or 4 to I think it was 5-2. I'm not working
It
with
was,
them.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not working with them. I'm gonna gas Ryan up and give him exactly what he needs so he can continue to power. And then if or when I get back into the game, I'm jumping ship.
fair.
Fair. But yeah.
No, I'm really curious. Is this going to happen every time that like we get like an uneven thing, or will people automatically always have to send someone to the journey?
I don't know. I think I'm my hat is off to Alex for thinking about the timey-wimey, like skill, whatever time maneuvering that it took to figure out the twist of this game because my head is spinning and I need to sit down.
It makes me want to rewatch Black Widow Brigade, honestly, like because like that
Oh,
was. I don't know if anyone here. I know that I believe that we both watched it. I know I watched it. I loved every second of it.
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Well, it's on the YouTube page. But like it's really cool. And
Mm-hmm.
it's well edited, well told.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner is unexpected.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
but like it's a really fun game that had a lot of Survivor alums in there and some RJP podcasters. It was great. But yeah,
Cool. Um,
I
but
I do want, before we finish like this segment though, I really want to talk about like Gen rules. Like
yeah.
Jen rules. I never met her or anything like that, but like, I mean, I want to like just give her a high five, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do what Ryan did, and I would lean in for a hug. I think I now that I've had a relationship with Jen, um, in the context that we've had, um, I really like root for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go into the strategizing of Roxborough, I do want to go back to Robinette because she she hasn't really had like those big confessionals, but hopefully like they come up more. I liked what she said about connecting with the audience as a DJ
Yeah.
because I've been to a few, I mean I still go to a few DJ sets in my time, and like a good DJ is pivotal. So Robinette, send me your SoundCloud.
Yeah. No, I caught that also. I was like, that's a really intuitive, smart confessional that like really like was like, okay, this feels like there's like real meat here, not just like give content. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So so there's an alliance forming a fair amount with Manfred, Ryan, Timmy, and then I believe Ryan pitches Paige and Natasha.
Yeah, I think I didn't hear Paige. Maybe I just like wasn't like actively listening. But
The
I
camera
did.
showed her like
Yeah,
quickly, so yeah.
but I do think Natasha is part of that, which doesn't bode well for my girl Robinette. You better not touch a hair on Robinette's head. But I do like that five.
It's an interesting five. Like they're a dynamic five where it's like a lot of brains and good muscles, and like it's a thing of like they can really look out for each other in the long run if this is a true five, you know.
In college, I took a groups dynamics class, and five is one of the best group dynamics that you can have.
All right, let's find 3 more people, my friend. So also this one Sunshine brings up that he has like mad snacks, and his plan is actually be the team dad, and it's working insanely well. And I agree so hard. Like there's something very inviting about Sunshine's presence. It's not just like it's not just like the thing like that got him the nickname. I think it's like the way you see him interact with people. It's that weird like because he definitely is more of a listener than he is a talker, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Like I think his perception at first, because he is more of a listener, is kind of like serious and quiet. But he's one of those guys, like once he smiles, he really is super inviting, and like he obviously cares a lot. And I just wish I drafted him first before Mark.
I'm just happy to see him on my screen. Like,
Yeah.
he's one of those players I'm like, I don't know how long you're in this game for, but you're a cool dude, and I like what you're doing in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. But also that 5 does not have Sunshine.
No, it doesn't.
And that's making me a little mad.
Nor does it have Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see if they ever go to Tribal.
We'll find out because we gotta go back to Roxborough and see what's happening over there. Which holy shit, this is chaotic.
Oh my god, so chaotic. I just wrote down Gabe the bus driver, Ben like Regina George.
Oh my god, like, and then like Amir's immediately like, I'm going home because I almost went out last time. It's like, bro, calm down, please calm. Like
it. I think this is the reason and the like it factor of why I drafted Ymir first, because to go from being so vocal at Tribal to then, like out of nowhere immediately rectify voting, or I guess in this case not voting, and then being like, hey, I'm here to play, like let's play. Yeah. And then shift the target that's on his back to somebody else is very masterful to me.
I think he did great. Just was like that thing of him, like, I get where he's coming from. Like, I'm an anxiety monster myself. But it was that thing of like, I wish like just like let the game happen. You know what I mean?
But I think I push back on that, because if you let the game happen and you don't use what you know, kind of how Ymir is doing, then you run the risk of being voted out just because you're in the crosshairs of somebody else's plan.
True. And like he gets brought up from Emma to like the rest of the tribe too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know if Emma and Ymir had a relationship before the game?
No one knew each other. That's exactly
no one knew each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they're clicking like good friends.
It's so weird that like she pitched them, and then they voted together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm fine with that. Like, it was just that weird thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So like, this is like kind of a crazy little scramble. Like, I feel like if I was in the scramble, I'd be like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna vote for whoever gave me the last name, because like we got Johnny going whole hog against Ben, and like it's kind of like mob boss vibe to it. You know what I mean? It's very confident. Like, I have my people. We're taking out Ben. And Gabe is kind of like, Gabe is interesting. I don't know how to describe it. It's
okay. I'm laughing because I do understand the kind of player that Gabe is. Well, you said Gabe or Ben?
Gabe, not Ben.
Yeah, okay. I understand the kind of player Gabe is. Like someone who's inquisitive, wants to be in every conversation, trying to suss out the best move, and then eventually does fall flat. Like, and then has to rebuild what they're doing. It's just like this. It's a very funny game to me, but it makes for like really great viewership.
Because it's that thing, like, you see Gabe like in almost every talk during the scramble.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's silent, but like he's always like, yeah. You're like, yeah, what?
Yeah. It's kind of like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football. Like just going for it every single time, and then wow, just like not being able to make it.
You go first.
No, I just feel I feel for the scramble, like trying to get the right footing, trying to figure out where the votes are going. But I think Jaleese is thinking about it. I think Jasmine's thinking about it. Johnny's definitely thinking about it.
Johnny's like, I'm in charge of this tribe right now. Mm-hmm. Like that's his energy right now, and like literally, the only name you really hear throughout the scramble is Ben.
Yeah.
Like you don't like. I was like watching this episode, like I'm like, cool, I'm losing the second person I draft in 2 weeks. Great.
Yeah. It's a wild one, friend. It's a wild one.
But like it's that thing where Gabe just wants Emma gone soon, not now, but soon. And like we get like a few interesting confessionals from Jasmine in this episode that like really are like making her go a little higher on my radar in a good way. Of like, she definitely has her ear down to the ground in a smart way. She doesn't vote in the winning side, but she does like a lot of consideration goes into this vote.
Yeah. I wrote in my notebook.
Yeah,
I put 3 stars next to Jasmine's name. Because I think the passion of play is there, and I think that she's doing the right thing, sussing out what the vote is. It's chef's kiss to me. Because if there's 7 people that are voting, you really, really, really need to be on the right side of that vote. Because to be in that 3 is just so detrimental.
And like, keep in mind, like in theory, the vote last week was going to be a 4-4. Like if Amir had his vote, it would have been a 4-4.
Would it have been?
Because it was 4-3. Because he didn't have a vote.
Oh, you're right.
So like it's a very split tribe, which like down the middle, which I feel like is a very interesting spot to be in so early in the game.
I need a weekly update of the voting chart. The powers that be, please get me a voting chart of how everybody voted up until this episode.
So you're telling me you want me to text that to you?
I mean, if you want to be the powers that be.
I mean, I have the voting chart for today.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I deleted the one from last week because, like, what I do is I write my notes and I delete them as I go through them. That's how I, like, yeah.
Oh, my God. That's a toxic, I guess, trait about me. I never delete notes. It will stay there.
Well, you ever say a notepad? Mine's in my computer.
I mean, that's fair. I do. I mean, whatever. I think that it's important to always look at what you write. But anyways, I digress.
But we get to tribal council, and I'm going to say this with as much love in my heart towards myself and to Amir. Amir is giving me big Mark energy.
Why do you say that?
My anxiety is all over my face all the time, and so is Amir's.
I think it's Amir.
Regardless, I believe you are correct. Amir. I believe, like, because I do have a poker face, but my face tends to show it more than not.
Yeah, it does.
I like to smile, you know?
You do like to smile. Um, in term like not a general feedback to you, but
Yeah.
I think all people should figure out what their disposition is if they're playing an LRG, and then think about the opposite. So like if you are like really happy, like go with the flow, and it's hard for you to lie, you need to learn how to have a poker face. And if you are someone that is like super serious, you need to learn how to smile, like subconsciously.
Like at least smile with your eyes, you know, like smiles, you know.
I I've recently been clocked for my like sassy like my sassy neck, just going like
So
this.
you have to fix your sassy neck, you're saying.
I think I do. I
All
think I
right.
do.
So that's your homework for next week. I'll make a voting chart.
Okay. I don't know if I can fix it in a week, Mark.
Fine, fine. We'll figure this out.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a kind of like a ho hum leading up to the vote stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about Ryan Cassidy, he's in the chat.
You two look amazing this beautiful manic Monday night. I know. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It has been a manic Monday night.
It really has been. Like honestly, something's in the water today. We don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but it's there.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was something too severe that happens in this tribal before the vote. I feel like it's a very much you don't want to telegraph to your who you're voting out. You're voting them out type vibe.
Yeah. I think that I knew subconsciously that it was gonna be a 4-3 vote, but I didn't realize how much I was like clutching my pearls, hearing it's 3-3 Johnny and Ben until the last vote.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So like I'm watching this episode like dreading for my chat, right? Like for my draft, and I'm just like, cool. I lost 2 people. One of them I drafted pretty high and felt really good about the first episode. This is great in the most sarcastic sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the vote happens. Like when it gets to the second vote for Johnny, I'm like, okay. And it gets the 30 votes for Johnny. I'm like, Alex and his team are not showing us everything, which I respect and I like that a lot. But it was nothing in my mind, like, what's happening? You know, like
Yeah. I was pretty shook because my boy Johnny got out. And then from the stars, I drew an arrow. And from the vote count, I drew an arrow to the word "nor" because I don't want Jasmine to be on the wrong side of the votes. I do trust her in being able to flip it and being able to be like, hey, I felt like this is where the votes were going. I've always said what I was gonna do. But I also can see people wanting to vote for Jasmine because there's already this "don't trust the girls" kind of mentality.
it's interesting because like of the people that look like they're the closest to Johnny, 2 of them do vote with Johnny.
I know.
Gabe and Jasmine vote with Johnny, but not Jaleesa.
Good on Jaleesa.
Yeah. That's so the votes for Ben are Johnny, Gabe, and Jasmine. The votes for Ben are the votes for Johnny are Ben, Amir, Emma, and Jaleesa. Yeah.
That's honestly a very strong 4. I wasn't expecting those 4 to come together. I also had no expectations, but the fact that they pulled off a 4-3 against all odds, because I definitely thought Amir was gonna get votes this round.
Because this was not the they didn't vote together last. Well, technically they didn't vote together last round.
Technically,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was that cool thing of like it's still in the game. You're still finding your people. It was a cool surprise to see Jaleesa vote for Johnny. At least as an audience perspective, it was cool to see that. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Johnny, I think is a very fun player, and
Yeah.
I would have liked to see a lot more of him just because of like where he was going with his narrative for the season. Like it was giving me like kind of like "don't cross me" vibes, or I'll get you before you think you can cross me.
Yeah. I think I am a little confused why the vote shifted to Johnny after he was part of like the right side of the votes. But I will say, just based on what I know now versus what I knew then, Amir's name was never thrown out seriously this round. That was just said because Johnny was present. Ooh.
That's interesting. That came from Ben. Yeah.
Ooh.
So that makes sense that Amir was a decoy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm starting to see the family tree, the web of connections. Yeah. I think that was a really nice piece of insight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. I love a good live audience with us.
I know. I do love a good live audience. Okay. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you go first, dude.
Oh no, I was gonna go straight into the twist, but I was gonna say what I know now versus what I see happen then is I consider Johnny to be more of a savvier player than getting second boot. Obviously, like, placement doesn't matter; it doesn't define your worth. But I could see how it was like a bummer to him because he wasn't in such a good position, and I hope to see him play like another live game because I think that he would be able to reflect on how he did this time and like play better.
It's that thing of like whenever you play your first live game, you don't have like you just are like, oh, lump of clay. That defines you. Like however that game goes for you defines at least your next game. Like, cool. I'm going to make that move earlier, or I'm going to play that idol, or I'm going to make friends, or whatever. So like that's my like that's the way I look at how my history of games are. Like my first live game, I was the first boot, and I'm like, okay, what did I do wrong? Oh, okay, or whatever. And then like each time I play a game, I try like learn from choices from the game before and implement them into myself to play better.
Mm-hmm.
By better, I mean how I want to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think personally, I've been in the business of trying new things. Like, I've recently been playing games that haven't been to how I like have been playing like in the past. And I think that's because those ways never really worked, you know?
Yeah.
And I haven't won. So I haven't won a Survivor game. So it makes me really think about intentionality and how I like show up in these games.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
yeah.
we get to so we get Johnny walking down the path, and he gets to the 5 blocks now, and he writes down BEN. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too. I think just like we said at the beginning of the podcast, the actions that you make do ripple throughout the game. And so if you're not being upfront and you're not being honest and being like, hey, I heard this and whatnot, then your name is going on a red block for an unknown twist to be announced.
And it's that thing of like, if you don't have, like, for me, if I throw it out and I feel like I got screwed over or whatever, like, I'm like, that person's my moral enemy, at least for the next 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's the way my brain works when I play games, apparently. And I'm like, okay, I got screwed over. Well, that person's the reason I got screwed over. So they're like, anything to hurt them is good for me.
Okay.
I'm really nice sometimes. Just, depends on how long the game's been or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
sure.
Should we talk about like next week's episode, which sounds
insane
to me?
Yeah.
It sounds like both tribes might be going to tribal council because only 2 people are safe. In my mind, it sounds like they're going to have like individual immunities per tribe. That's what it sounds like. I don't know. But only 2 people are safe, so is there going to be one giant tribal council or 2 small ones?
I don't know.
What do you think, Davey?
I don't know. All I know is I'm very focused on that medevac question mark.
And bees?
Bees.
Did someone get stung by being a medevac?
Yeah.
I don't know what my voice is doing that.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to talk about it next Monday night with you, Davey. Regardless.
I'm very excited too. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. We are going to talk about quotes or moments. Actually, we're going to go with this comment. Exit interview with Johnny will be posted on Spotify and Apple Podcasts right after the stream. Hey.
Well, that'll be exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, exciting. I was gonna say our quotes and our philosophical talks at the beginning of the episode are gonna center on the title. But if there are any other questions, like please drop them into the stream or direct message us because I would love to discourse more.
Yeah, and also we were thinking about possibly trying to get guests and such like that for later episodes too, right?
Yeah. So if you play at Survivor Philly, or any adjacent tri-state area, whatever's like LRG, if you have some experience and you want to hop on because you've been loving the season, hit us up.
Yeah, I mean we have talked about Survivor Philly, we've talked about Survivor New York. We'll talk to let's just do it.
Yeah. All right, Mark.
Oh, that's
what?
fun. That'd be a fun guest.
The winner of last season asked the guest. Oh my God. Okay.
We love her. All right.
We love her.
So Davey, how can people follow you or anything exciting happening?
You can find me at Daveyy Sack, DAVEYYSAK. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah. Feel free to hit me up. I love hearing your thoughts. I give shine, flowers, roses when it's necessary, and I'm really in love with this season. This cast is bringing the beast.
Mm-hmm.
It's fire.
Yeah. The beast is fire.
Yeah. How can they find you, Mark?
You can find me on at MarkLevy85 on Twitter and Instagram. If you like hearing me talk about movies, which I think is a pretty fun thing to do, I have a interestingly semi-popular TikTok page at Movie Mark, where I talk about movies. Also, I recently met a couple of the cast members from Lego Masters in real life, and I actually cried meeting Boone, which you can see a photo of me and Boone on my Instagram, and Christopher Robert and myself, the most recent winners. But yeah, just talking Survivor with dear sweet Davey here in the dark and now the light. But I will be with you guys next week, probably earlier. But we appreciate you guys tuning in live. And go watch the third episode. Drops tomorrow, Tuesday, August 6th at 6 p.m. on the Survivor Philadelphia YouTube page. Give us a 5 stars if you'd like. Or just wait until finally us as 5 stars. Like I said, our friends were talking about Big Brother 626 today. There was a lot of drama on that show today, and I cannot wait to catch up on all of that. But friends, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.